Hey guys, welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe and I'm joined by Nathan. And today we're back doing another random anime review.
Yay!
Yay! And this week we've gone back to the truly randomness of it and we've picked out a random anime from Crunchyroll, which we've watched and we're going to talk about. And do you want
Yes.
to do you want to reveal what this anime is this week, Nathan?
We have selected yet another isekai because you can't escape them. It's like shooting fish in a barrel nowadays with anime and isekai. We have picked Reborn to Master the Blade, from Hero King to Extraordinary Squire.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen the Japanese name for it, and I feel like
I
I don't
I
think
didn't note
either
it
of us want to
down.
attempt that.
I tried to read it the other day. I mean, what? Let me look it up again real quick.
It is
See if
it's
I can.
long as there's some things which like I feel like I could attempt the Japanese name of it, but this one I'm like I that's a mission. I'm not even going to
Okay,
attempt
so
that.
it's Eiyu wo kiwameru tame tensei su. そして世界最強の見習い騎士. There you go.
There you go.
I didn't read any of the actual symbols. I read the romanization
Yeah, I thought you did, but it's us
because
reading it along with you.
I can only read hiragana and katakana. I don't know kanji, so I probably would have had to skip 3/4 of it. But there you go. Yeah, Reborn to Master the Blade, from Hero King to Extraordinary Squire. It's yet another light novel adaptation. It was created by and written by someone called Hayaken. That's their like pen name, I guess.
Yep.
And the anime was animated by Studio Comet. And it actually doesn't look too bad. Like, it looks pretty like standard for anime nowadays, but
Yeah, going on first appearances of it, like it's one of those ones, right? Where you look at it and you're like, this looks like an isekai. This looks like any generic anime that you would see. But I'll go into this a bit more when we actually talk about the review. Do you want to like give a rundown of the plot quick, Nathan? And then we'll
yeah, sure.
give our thoughts on stuff.
So we follow the main character, Inglis Eucus, who, when you first see them, is an old man on his deathbed. He was the king of a place called Silvare, or Silver. I don't know how to pronounce that. Whilst he's dying, he's beloved by all of his people and is visited by the goddess Alistia. She has visited him before and gave him her blessing. That's how he became the divine warrior and founded his kingdom many a year ago. On his deathbed, for his service, she offers him a wish. Within her power, she will grant any one wish. He says, I want to know how far I could have gone if I hadn't become king and I had just continued mastering my martial skills. So he asks to be reborn, and he is granted his wish and is reborn as a little girl, or a baby girl, even.
Yeah.
He starts life brand new from the beginning, but as a girl. But he keeps all of his memories and his powers from before. So he's just a little girl with an old man's abilities.
Yes. If anything, it's very similar. If you've listened to our previous discussion of World's Greatest Assassin gets reincarnated as an
Yeah.
aristocrat, you kind of piece together a few of the similarities in this, in the fact that it is an older man who again dies, gets reincarnated into a person in the magical world. However, the differences with this one is that it's not like your other isekai where it's, oh, I'm in the normal world being transported into a world of magic. This is already in a world of magic.
He basically is just reborn into the same world,
Yeah.
but as a new person, coincidentally with the same name.
He's yeah, like you said, he's in the same world, he's in the same universe. Like magic is still a thing. Like
Yes.
there's all like there's beasts about, there's like different dragons and shit like that. And like it's just like the fact that it is all based in the magic. There isn't like, oh my god, I've got to get adjusted to this like magic thing, or oh my god, there's weapons. It is literally like, okay, cool. I'm gonna like go from my life as a hero king to now I'm gonna just become a master of the blade, or like a, as the title says, an extraordinary squire.
Yeah, I think the other main difference that made this more interesting to me is that he was an old man and now he's a girl.
Yes, it
It's
definitely
not
switches up a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
it's not something I feel like I see often. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who's watched lots of isekai anime, and this is like, "Ah, this is just another trope." To me, this is fresh. I've not experienced this, and I actually thought this point was enough to be interesting.
there is certain things with that, like you said, I can understand it, especially like, where you're coming from. With like, it feels a little bit fresh. I feel like it takes, I don't know, bits and pieces from different isekais. It does feel like it does feel quite interesting as a concept for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like it's one of those ones. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. When we got this through as our choice on Crunchyroll, like our like what we're choosing as a random review, I looked at the title, I looked at the picture, and I was like, for God's sake,
Yeah,
like this
same.
looks this. Like, already not holding out hope for
Oh
this. But
god, here we go.
I was going in like expecting to hate this and be like, for God's sake, I'm just gonna watch one episode. It's gonna be like every other isekai. However, like it does bring some new elements into this isekai
I
genre.
I will also say I completely agree. I was pleasantly surprised. I actually would probably continue this. I If I hadn't watched it at stupid o'clock in the morning and was too tired and wanted to go to bed, I actually would have kept watching this. Like I watched the first episode and the second episode started playing, and I was gonna just leave it on because I was actually kind of interested to know. Because the first
Mhm.
episode, like a fair amount happens, and it grabbed me in it grabbed my attention so many times, and there were, to me, couple of funny bits.
I think it does the comedy really well. It feels like with the whole transforming into a little girl, like the reactions in this are quite funny, and like he obviously you see like this it's basically this old man in like this small girl's
Yeah,
body.
and,
Ew.
in the
But
first half of the episode when he is just a baby, he's like he's still got old man voice in his head, and, like Pepe said, there's, like, magic beasts and stuff, like, they explain the world, like, magic is called aether, and then you learn later on that aether can be reduced down and it becomes mana. And to use artifacts like magical items, you need runes. So like they've got loads of that like magical element in it. But it's just funny
yeah.
because like they make it really serious because in this new reborn life, as a baby, he's like his town gets attacked by dragons. And like everybody's like, oh man, we're not gonna survive. And then there's this one scene that I just couldn't stop laughing because it was so
Mm.
hilarious. It's the main character as a baby crawling over and squaring up to this fucking massive dragon. Everyone's in the room. His mum, his cousin, who has a rune in his special, have been fighting this thing with swords and doing nothing. And then this fucking baby just crawls up and one shots it in the
It's the
mouth.
reaction. It's the reaction of the baby as well. It's like the face afterwards, like, like
Yeah,
it's
to like turn around and see their cousin looking at him like, what what just happened? Like every time it's always like that. It's like,
yeah.
what just happened? Someone catches this kid doing something that they should not be possible. Like it's literally the impossible in their mind, but it was just really, really funny to see this proper dragon. Like you would see this dragon in any game or whatever, right? It's just this little baby girl in the standard pink outfit with the little like frilly hat thing, squaring up. It's ridiculous, but it was so funny.
Yeah. I think this, like as I said before, this anime does do comedy well. I feel like with the assassin anime, I feel like it had all that like sort of magic and all that sort of stuff going on, but it didn't have much of a comedy factor to it. I feel like I agree. Like the assassin was I'm comparing these two because I feel like this is the closest thing I can compare it to out of all the isekais I've watched. Like it's an old man being reincarnated into into a younger body.
Yeah.
Like it's the closest thing I can compare. And like agree, like and understandably, the assassin was someone who is more of a serious character, whereas this new this hero king comes into it, and he has a little bit of a laugh with it, and I feel
Yeah.
like it feels like there's a bit more of a comedy value there, and it brings it like through to the whole series as well. So it doesn't just feel like, oh, this is like a serious thing. It like
Well, I think the problem with the assassin anime was like for me, it fell into too many tropes straight away, and it
Yes.
turned me off because like, okay, he got reborn to try and break that world cycle of like
Mhm.
slavery and stuff, but it still had those like fan servicey, like harem elements in
Yes,
it
it
that
did, didn't
I
it?
was just like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm done." Whereas this, okay, it might try to be a bit fan servicey, but in the first episode, it really doesn't do any of that.
No,
Like,
no.
and it doesn't seem like the tone of this is gonna be like probably showing too much like weird fan servicey, like, "Oh, huh, we get it because isekai, and you're gonna want to see your anime waifus, right?" It does seem more like there's gonna be this old man trying to hide the fact that he is way stronger than anyone, but still trying to improve himself in a way that seems logical.
I mean, having watched 3 episodes of it, I can tell you right now that it feels if I can compare this character, the character of, Inglis to anyone in the whole anime universe, like, up to episode 3, I'd compare him to Goku.
See, I would think the same thing. From one
Because
episode, I thought the exact same thing.
because the whole point of this character is I want to test my strength.
Yeah,
And I don't care what side I'm maybe a little bit like Goku's always fighting for justice, right? But this character, the character of English, is literally just like, okay, I just want to test my strength through whoever I can. Like whether they're on the side of justice, like enemies, dragons, whoever. I just want to fight strong
yeah.
people.
You get that
And
from
that
episode
yeah.
one. Like, that's why Baby squares up against Dragon because, oh, I just want to see how strong I am. Like, the this old guy is constantly like that. Pepe is completely right. Like,
Mm.
even in the first episode, he just straight up is like, what? Their cousin Rani, the other little girl, is like talking about, oh, the merchants, they go up against dragons all the time. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get rid of all the dragons or something, like all the beasts? And the main character straight up English is like, what? Why would you do that? Or like, oh yeah, they get
Yeah.
attacked every day, and they're like,
God,
oh, so
so
lucky.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
This like
yeah.
this character doesn't care for like, oh, okay, we need to save the world. This character's like, I want to just like fight
But
strong
yeah,
people. That's
this
it. Like
this this
whatever
character
it
straight
does.
up got Saiyan traits, man. Like, just like,
Yeah.
bring them on. If they're strong, I'm a fight. I want the fight. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's good. Like I think with the cast of characters as well, it does feel like you said, like it doesn't feel like a harem or anything like that. It doesn't feel like oh like English sama daisuki da.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like that. It feels like okay, cool. It feels like we could see some serious fights come through in this, and even like I think the episodes I got to episode 2 and 3, um it did feel like there was some quite cool fight scenes in them as well. Bear in mind, like it does feel tropey at times as well. This isn't like anything that's like like completely new,
Yeah.
but it's still a good watch regardless. I feel like it does fall into some of those isekai tropes, some of those like just anime tropes in general, but that isn't a bad thing.
No, I didn't think so.
If you're having a good time with the anime, surely it's like okay,
Yeah, I
I
found it
like
quite an easy watch, to be fair. Like,
yeah.
I thought, at least from the first episode, I personally, I felt like it balanced it well enough that I wasn't ever turned off. Like there was no one thing that I was like, "Nah, I'm not watching this."
Mm,
I
yeah.
again, I actually would probably continue this. I did kind of want to watch episode 2, but I was watching this at like 2 in the morning, so I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. I feel yeah, episode 2 is still quite interesting, I'd say. I mean there's certain bits of it where I was a little bit put off by. It's when they get older as well, the character
Yeah,
of English does
I
get
was
older.
gonna say,
There's
I'd
certain
imagine as the time skips, because it's literally like old man in episode 1, it's old man, baby, 5-year-old,
yeah,
and then I literally watched the first probably 2 minutes of the second episode, and then it's like
yeah,
6-year-old. So I'd imagine, especially because in the intro sequences, you already see like a teenage version of English
yeah,
or Chris, as they
yeah.
nickname. So yeah, I'd imagine some shit happened.
Is the fact that like the current age of the like character we're seeing right now in episode 2 and 3 at least, the character's 12 years old, and
Oh,
yeah, and when you see some of the stuff that comes through, like some of the characters, it's just like it just feels a little bit icky at times.
Okay,
Nothing,
well,
nothing
that's
horrendous,
yeah.
but nothing horrendous, nothing like bad. It's more insinuated rather than oh look, here's this thing.
Oh, okay,
it,
I see what you mean by, like,
yeah.
the anime stuff now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's the like it's one of those things, like, if the age was left ambiguous, it probably would have been a bit more like, I don't know how old this girl is, like, whatever's going on there. Not saying it's acceptable at all, but it feels even more
Yeah, it'd
ew
feel less
by
ick,
the fact
yeah.
yeah, it feels a lot more icky when it's like, "Oh, when you're out with, it's like, that's a 12-year-old, and they're being slightly sexualized," and it's like, what? And then there's certain characters like that say things, and you're like, why the fuck are you saying that? She's 12 years old, bruv.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things where I'm just like, okay, that's a little bit icky. Uh, but like the whole story as a whole, like when you like that, nothing like mad happens in that sort of weird sense. But like,
Well, it's just
no,
the fact that it's there.
it's the fact that it's there. But going back to what this series is mainly about, because in the grand scheme of things, that is about 5% of what I've seen in this whole anime. Like, and the rest of it is fighting, like seeing that character come through, like, I want to beat strong people. Like, that's the majority of what you're seeing. There's just like those it's just throwaway comments where you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? And then but then the grand scheme of things is it's good. Like, I feel like it's good story. I tell you what, the pacing in this is surprisingly really good as well. Because
Yeah.
what they do in this, like from the first, second, and third episodes, it feels like they always want to leave you on a cliffhanger as well. So this is an anime where it feels like it isn't like, oh, here's a story, it's done. Here's a look forward to the next story after the credits. This actually feels like, oh, here's a bit of the story. Oh, there's a bit of lore here. And then it kind of leaves you on like, oh, who's this character or what's gonna happen next? It's really good pacing. It's a good way of storytelling that it makes you want to watch the next episode so well. So I gotta commend the series for that as well.
Yeah. It goes back to, like, what we were saying earlier, innit? Like, it just despite certain things, it just was quite an easy watch, that was
Yeah.
enjoyable. Plus, it's like the situations are quite interesting to see as well. Like,
Yeah.
again, I only saw the first episode, but at the end, she fights the merchant. The character's 5. The kid
Yeah.
Raul is 13, and like he's using some magic because she's got the old man's memories and powers. She's already OP as fuck. But it's just funny to see this 5-year-old in a little dress, like, absolutely wipe the floor with this kid who's been smug as fuck. And it makes you root for the main character because, again, Raleig's like beat up every soldier that's there, but he's been cheating the whole time. He's been using mana to use a minor spell, but you can't do anything to English because English can just cancel it out. So now he's just getting absolutely beaten by a kid, and like it just feels rewarding as well. So I just want to I look forward to more stuff like that, just seeing these odd situations in which the world does not expect a young girl to just come in and wipe the floor with everything.
Yeah. I think that is like the main it's definitely the main selling point. It's that unexpected hero kind of thing. And especially since like English doesn't want to be like a big shot either. She just wants to fight
Yeah,
like strong people. This is like she's not aiming to be like, oh, one of the like top like fighters of the Royal Army or anything like that. She isn't aiming to be like that. She just wants to like keep a low profile but fight strong people. Like that's her whole aim. And it's interesting to see that. That's where the comedy comes through a little bit with the fact that that character just wants or like in some ways like an ordinary life, but not an ordinary life.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
also what makes this so refreshing as an isekai, because all the other ones are pretty much always like a power fantasy. It's still okay. Granted, this is still a male brain in a sense,
Mm,
but
yeah.
like it just everything feels fresh because it's from a different perspective in a way. It's like a now it's a strong female character who has already lived a life where they're the most important person ever, so they just want to do whatever they want to do which coincidentally just means they want to fight everybody. But like it just feels more refreshing that way because I mean, what I could pick any other isekai and be like, right, so that dude is gonna be the strongest, and all the women around him are gonna fucking fall in love, and they're gonna be waifu material, and they're gonna follow him around, and like Pepe said before, like, oh, whatever summer, oh my god, like, do you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
they're all the same. This one just feels
Mm.
different enough that I'm like, this is
Yeah.
this is good.
Like, regardless if you like isekais or not, like what you can take from this anime that isn't boring. That's definitely something that I think both of us can like
Oh
say for
yeah, for
sure.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. But yeah. Is there much more that we can say about this? Like, I feel like we've given like a little bit of rundown of the plot, like what we enjoyed about it. Is there anything else like at all?
I just want to say the opening song was all right. I actually kind of liked that song. Day One by Owl or AUO. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, that the opening song wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's one of the
I
ones I
thought it was
haven't
all
actually
right.
paid attention to. Like, it's worth saying as well. The animation is quite clean in this as well. That's it. Like, it's not like groundbreaking in terms of animation, but is like solid. Doesn't look janky
Yeah,
or anything like that. So
yeah,
that's something
it's
I feel
pretty
is
clean.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought because I only need to watch one episode, so I thought I'd pay attention to the opening song. The the ending song is okay too, but like because it's a completely different vibe. You know how anime does, in it. The ending song is like such a different vibe that I just sort of wasn't into it. But yeah, I thought the opening song was kind of refreshing as well because it's kind of funky. It wasn't so like like a lot of anime has like a rock opening or something, or like a generic sort of like J-pop opening.
Hmm.
This one sounded a bit different. So I appreciate that too. Like I appreciate that the whole thing, the whole package is slightly different from everything else, but sort of familiar.
But this actually, you can see why this is under the most popular anime. So even though I've never heard of it until we chose it, by the way, I didn't see any promo for this anime at all. But, like, to see it in the most popular section of Crunchyroll, I can kinda understand a little bit
Yeah,
why it's
same.
there.
Go go and watch it. We recommend it. We quite
Yeah,
we liked
ho
it.
whole absolutely, yeah. Give it a shot, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, hit that bell button so you get notified when all our videos come out. And check us out on podcast platforms and follow us on Twitter. The links are in the description, and we will catch you next time for another Cultured Boys. Bye.
Bye.